Hey, welcome back to another edition of Everything Football 62. I'm your Jonathan Big Tex Johnson, aka Uncle Tex, aka Professor Tex. Before we start, smash that like button, share, subscribe to the page, and we're gonna get with it right now. Might be a little bit long because I got a few things I'm gonna talk about tonight. Uh, about old boy named Zach Wilson or whatever, the quarterback for the Jets, and certain things that he said and whatnot, and why possibly shouldn't even said it. But we're going to start back with Thursday's game. No, it's been a little while. Like I tell you, a lot of times, every other week, I got life that happens, and I got to take care of that. When I got to take care of that, sometimes I can't do it the way I want to do it and whatnot because I got life, which means that I got a kid. She has activities, and I got to go take care of that business. Let's start with the Tennessee and Green Bay game. It goes back to Tannehill. Tennessee beats them 27-17. Tannehill throws 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing. Okay. They held Henry to 80 yards, but nonetheless, he ended up throwing a touchdown pass. So that's 4 touchdown passes and whatnot. And this is a team that normally does a lot of rushing. So, of course, Green Bay loses the game 27-17. And they talking all that shit about Aaron Rodgers and whatnot, but please, if Aaron Rodgers is not there, the game wouldn't even be close and whatnot. So Tennessee, I've always liked how they was built. You guys heard me talk about them over and over again and whatnot, but it comes back to Tannehill and which Tannehill is going to show up. Chicago and Atlanta. Atlanta beats them 27-14. 27-24. Fields had another nice game, but goes back to Marcus Mariota, and that's the thing. It's ironic because, of course, Marcus Mariota was with the Tennessee Titans when they got to start going their playoff runs and whatnot, and you got to let him play the game that he plays. Probably not the greatest of yards and the stats that went on, but Mariota, 13 for 20, 131, 1 touchdown. No picks. He did rush for a touchdown, 13 for 25, and a touchdown, and whatnot. Like I said, in the end, Justin Fields threw a pick that was a little high. He did hurt his shoulders. Her shoulder was messed up. I think it was his left or right shoulder. I'm not sure which one it was. But again, a pass that should have been caught. These kids nowadays coming up with the one hand, especially going back to OBJ, 2 hands. He possibly could catch that ball first down. They keep going because they're moving. Fields, 18 catches, 85 yards and touchdown. Okay, but again, like I say, Chicago is that. It's rumored. Don't know how true it is, but it's actually rumored that, for them to get in a nice back, possibly, but they need some wide receivers and whatnot. So we'll see what goes on with that situation there later on. I don't think they're going anywhere, but Atlanta's a sleeper. Cleveland and Buffalo, 23-31, 31-23, I should say. I don't know why Yahoo has this thing this way. But let's be frank. Let's be real. Josh Allen hasn't been the same since around 34th week. Remember, they was getting ready to give him the MVP. And if we look at his stats, let's just go there because this is what takes a little long time and whatnot. Stats. Josh Allen, 18 for 27, 197, 1 touchdown. Singletary's running the ball. Commit to Singletary. I don't think they really want to submit to him and want him. I say submit. Commit to him. 18 carries, 86 yards, 4.8 yards a carry. Run the ball. Because think about this. I honestly thought that Deshaun Watson was starting this week. Jacoby Brissett, 28 for 41, 324, and 3 touchdowns. Now, some want to say garbage touchdown. It was a little closer than what you guys expected. to shut down Nick Chubb. No running game. They have a running game. They probably beat the Bills. But the Bills ain't what everybody think the Bills are. But again, we'll see in due time on what happens with these guys. Philadelphia Eagles, 17-16. A missed call, a face mask. Ironically enough, it was a face mask and whatnot that caused them to have a fumble last week and whatnot, and caused them to lose against the Commodores, whatever they call. They're gonna always be the Skins to me. Jalen Hurts still looking good, whether you want to admit to it or not. Jalen Hurts, 18 for 25, 191, one touchdown. 16 catch for 86 yards and a touchdown. He did lose a fumble. He's that guy and whatnot. So, again, we can go on and talk about these different things. Jalen Hurts is not there. They're not winning what they're winning. New York, and New England. I'm going to do a little piece on this. This might be a little longer show than what it normally is. It was a clipping for that punt return that happened that wasn't called. When it was happening, I said, oh, that's a clip that's coming back. That would technically basically probably still eventually end up putting them in field goal range. But they end up winning. It's a walk-off, 10-3, defensive struggle. I'll get back to them later and break down to you about Zach Wilson. New Orleans, 27. The Rams, 20. The Red Rifle came out, firing on all cylinders. We see what happened, 27-20 and whatnot. I think, what's his name? Stafford, Texas kid, quarterback, Highland Park. We see what happened with him. Concussion protocol, still on that. Every time you look up, his wife is talking something about the protocol. I'm like, which is pathetic because she has nothing to do with that. Detroit and New York. Detroit 31-18. This I didn't see coming. I figured, okay, well, New York would go ahead and do away with these guys. No. Daniel Jones, 27, 44, 341. One touchdown, two picks. He had 7 carries for 50 yards. Outrushed Saquon Barkley. When this happens, when this type of thing happens, the Giants are not going to win. And this is the recipe that they've been having since Daniel Jones has basically been on the team. Ran the ball. Jamal Williams, 17 carries, 64 yards, 3 touchdowns for the Detroit Lions. And New York ain't what they seem to be. And I'm telling you, and I've said this time and time again, put the ball in your best player's hands. And that would be Saquon Barkley in this particular thing, but you didn't do it. And we'll see what happened. Baltimore and Carolina, not much going on here. Defensive struggle. It's all about the defense. And Baltimore won. They did what they had to do. Jackson got that end zone like he was supposed to when he needed to. Rushing touchdown and whatnot. Not no great stats, but hey, 13-3, they got to win. Commanders in Houston, come on. That should have been an easy win for them. Mims is not their quarterback. Is it Mims or Sills or whatever this guy's name is? Let's look it up. Yeah, Mills. 19 for 33, 169, 2 interceptions. Pierce didn't run the ball a lot, 10 carries, 8 yards. That defensive front, and I said this, I'm gonna go on record. The best defensive front in the game. And I hate to say this, but those boys right up the road went to school right up the road in high school. Jonathan Allen. who ended up going to Alabama. Them guys are nasty up front. And if we can stop the run, they're going to make the quarterback, it's got to beat us. You're not going to beat us with both. And we have to look out for it. Vegas 22, Vegas Raiders and Broncos overtime. They want to blame Russell Wilson. And then they got rid of Melvin Gordon earlier this week because he had his fifth fumble in 9-10 games. I did a show about Melvin Gordon in 2020. He's not that guy. Decent back. Fumbles the ball too much. Reminds him of Wendell Tyler. It's not going to happen. And I don't know who said that this guy, Russell Wilson, and everybody trying to say Russell Wilson is trash, he's lost it, he's this, he's that. But I'm like, what made you think, again, haven't been in the playoffs since 2016. Dallas and Minnesota. Man, hey, look, man. Pollard, we can talk shit all we want. Kirk Cousins did what Kirk Cousins does when it comes to games like this. Saw what happened. And it's funny to me that people are surprised by this. Probably the worst 8-1 team that is out there. Dak Prescott, 22 for 25, 276, 2 touchdowns, no win. You don't turn the ball over, you can do good things. That's all I'm going to say. Cincinnati Bengals and Pittsburgh. Game is kind of out of it, but at the same time, Pittsburgh should have never came back and got 30 points, 37 points. That game's a toss-up. But it ended up being what it was supposed to be. Kansas City and LA Chargers. The Grim Reaper puts his head up again. Puts his head up again. And when we say that, let's look at the stats. My numbers guy, Travis Kelce, 6 receptions for 115 yards. 3 of them were touchdowns. What else do we need to say? Mahomes, 20, 34, 329, 3 touchdowns. They're going to be hard to beat. They're going to be hard to beat. They're dynamic. Period in the story. And San Francisco, Arizona, and Mexico. And 38-10. That game was actually close for a second. James Conner cannot run the football the way he ran the football in the absence of Le'Veon Bell when he was there in Pittsburgh. He is not the guy. They are a better club than that. I really do believe that. Kyler Murray, second week didn't play. Colt McCoy, 24-34, 218, 1 end. On a ball that should have been caught. I don't know, man. I don't know. But we'll see when Kyler gets back. And you're talking about a team in San Francisco with Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to give you that. But when it comes to playoffs and the major playoff games, can he get it done? And I don't think he can get it done. So, which leads us going to Zach Wilson. Let's listen to this.
When you guys are only able to score 3 points, the defense only lets up 3 points. I mean, do you feel like you let the defense down at all?
No.
He said no. Now, which brings us to that of Booker McFarland.
Let's understand who this young man is before we ask him to accept accountability. He's a young man who grew up with a lot of money. I don't think he's ever had to accept accountability. And so now on the biggest stage, we want this quarterback to accept accountability.
That doesn't resonate at all. Like, I mean, he's a tough-minded kid. He's come through. I mean, everyone's...
Look at RG3's face. And I can deal with both of what these guys are saying. What Booker's saying and what Steve Young is saying. Let's continue.
Challenge. I mean,
he hasn't had to accept the accountability, and so now on the biggest stage, we want this kid to be an adult in front of grown men and accept accountability. It may not feel good, but what I know about it,
he let him down yesterday. That's for sure.
He let him down yesterday, and
Steve Young took offense because Steve Young comes from money as well. His family, BYU, Brigham Young University, for those that don't know. And what Zach Wilson comes from. We heard the things about him, the MILF chaser, the whole thing. I don't care. But the reason why Booker McFarland said what he said is a certain arrogance that came along with that. Whereas Zach Wilson and the accountability, where
when you guys are only able to score 3 points, the defense only lets up 3 points. I mean, do you feel like you let the defense down at all?
No. He said the offense did not let the defense down. Because what he's going on, because that was clearly a clip in the last 5 yards of that play. He should have never got that in the punt return. They got some studs on that damn defense. Whether you want to, they miss, for sure, they miss Breece Hall. Hell, I miss Breece Hall. And the production that he put up. And the thing that Booker McFarland is saying is the fact that, I'm going to say no. For him to say no. Zach Wilson. I'm going to go back up here. Nine for 22, 77 yards. With stats like that, you cannot win a football game. And the arrogance of him, because they allowed that. That's what Booker McFarland was talking about. That's what he was talking about. The arrogance of him. He is not even humble enough to say, hey, man, I got to play better. I sucked. Listen to it.
I think you have, if you're Robert Saleh, you have to go to him and say, hey, listen, I don't know how you are used to doing things, how you grew up. But when you're professional and you go out and perform the way you did, you have to accept accountability. That's the only way that the men in the locker room are going to accept.
It's a quarterback's fundamental job.
Yes.
Is to bring the team forward. And if he can't do that, that's fundamental to the job.
Yeah.
So we stipulate to that.
So if you gave him the shovel, Booger, to bury him by saying no in that postgame and not taking accountability.
You know, you mentioned one word, accountability.
No accountability. None. Which is the reason why they made the switch to, I think, Mark White, possibly Joe Flacco, to be the quarterback. I can tell you guys all the time, there is no GOAT. There is no greatest of all time, as long as time is still going on. I tell you all the time, numbers don't lie. Zach Wilson, 9 for 22, 77 yards. He's your first. You took him in the first round. There was something that juggling his balls as if to say this guy is the next coming. Oh, look at how he throws the ball. I saw guys when he's a BYU. He is not that guy. And going back to Rex Ryan, he's not even better than Mark Sanchez. Like I say, there is no GOAT. There is no greatest of all time as long as time's still going on. Numbers don't lie and get emotional. People do. We'll come back to you guys later. All right? Have a good one.